We are live.
We are live. Okay, you ready?
There he goes. There we go.
But now I can't get this one off because I need another bottle, which we don't have. So that's
You got your key right there. Yeah.
nice. Okay, we're doing well. We're doing well.
Which is fine. Yeah.
It's fine. Okay, there we go. Cheers.
Cheers.
What's up, guys? It's your...
Welcome to the vlog. We're out here in Moab.
Okay, so we're recording. Okay,
We're recording.
all right. Are we actually starting now?
I think we're actually starting now.
Okay, we're actually
Properly.
We're starting this thing. We're doing this.
Do we want to introduce ourselves? How do we do this?
Okay. Well, I guess are we gonna call this the Bridge?
Yeah, but let's call it the Bridge for sure.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay, welcome to the Bridge podcast. My name is Dean. I'm an influencer.
I'm an ex-influencer.
I'm a recovering influencer. Welcome to the podcast, I guess. We have just been having the most amazing, crazy conversations lately, and we just wanted to capture this and share it somehow. So yeah, we'll see if we have a natural conversation or it's going to be very forced because we're recording it now.
Forced. It's all forced. It's all lines now. We've got a script.
Yeah, a blank
page script.
Okay, but yeah, today we are speaking about social media in 2022. Also, I guess we'll just start with like our backgrounds of where we came from as aspiring influencers.
Right. Well, I mean,
it sounds so gross to say now.
It's so weird to say it, but it is like something that I think that what it is now for me is something I'm having to relearn how to work with, because it was something in the past. Like, it was this influencing thing, like being online, is being a social media influencer. It's like, now what is the presence online? What is the role that you play? How do you find the balance between like just being your authentic self and just naturally in it, and also playing the part of somebody online and playing this role and kind of identity?
Yeah, especially when like the whole
conversation.
is still like transfixed on that image of like, and that also seeing that as success as well, like being successful on social media is like, if you have followers, then you have social proof that you know what you're talking about, you know what you're doing, even though now we know that you can easily play that system. You can fake the game
and run the system the way you need to get to where you want it to be.
Yeah,
and play the role.
But yeah, so give us some background on your influencing.
I was actually thinking about this, because it's like it really just like happened to me. Like, I started shooting when I was like,
actually I don't even think I know the story of like how you got into the social media game.
Yeah, I mean, that was all it was for me. Was I started shooting. I mean, I'd always wanted to be a filmmaker ever since I was young. My young teens, I was like, oh, this would be a sick job to do. Like, I'm gonna make movies. But originally it was like Hollywood. I was gonna go be a big director. Out in LA and like run that. Yeah, exactly. Right, Mr. Steven Spielberg or George Lucas. I was gonna go out to LA and work the scene and build up my reputation and do all that sort of thing. And then I think when the internet hit, and then I don't know, you just start to grow up and you see different ways of doing things. I turned like 15, 16, and how was it? I interacted with Mitchell, actually. I don't know how I want to do that, but that's what it was. Where we Mitchell and I went on that road trip, and we started shooting.
And you were already on Instagram at this time?
I was already on Instagram because I'd already started shooting. I'd already started taking photos for people.
And you were just sharing those photos to Instagram.
And we were just kind of sharing them to Instagram. It was all kind of like, I'm just doing this because this is like a cool way to find a community, really. So I just started sharing, and then all of a sudden, Mitchell and I linked up, and then we went out to LA and spent a couple weeks out there doing, networking, hanging out with people, like just shooting around and stuff like that. And then at that point, we were definitely like, we're gonna, I was like, I'm gonna be a vlog, I'm gonna do vlogging. Like, I was like, well, let me just do this. Like, this is more fun. I can just travel. I can just do it online.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, he and I planned that trip overseas, and we flew to Switzerland, and then we just started traveling and shooting with all these kind of brands and companies. And at that point, it really started to pick up for me, because I had been shooting and had been connecting with people, and it made like, but it was all just kind of happening. It wasn't anything that I was necessarily like planning on or planning on doing. And then all of a sudden, when we were flying overseas, I was like, oh my goodness, this is what it is. Like, this is where we're at. This is what I can do with it all.
You saw the power of social
I saw the
media.
power of it. And I think that was when I kind of like dove fully into it.
Yeah. You're like, this could be a career.
This could be a career. Like,
life,
whoa. Like, I'm, all the different like elements.
Also,
that come
the image that
it.
comes along with it as well. Yeah.
It's big. It's like a big. You're like, oh, like look at me. Like, wow. Like, where am I at? Like, let's go. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that whole year, I was traveling with like people that I connected in Nashville with media influencers from Nashville, and then also people along the way. And I just found myself in a place where I was like, oh, this is just what I do. Like, I'm a photographer. I'm shooting for companies and brands and like concerts.
Did you ever call yourself an influencer?
I think the influencer thing came from the YouTube aspect, because Instagram, I was just kind of posting.
Okay.
I was just kind of putting stuff out there from what I was involved in, and all of a sudden kind of found myself in the sense of, I mean, I think probably yes. You know what I mean? But it wasn't something that I was like consciously being like, yeah, I'm for sure an influencer. I think the vlogging thing on YouTube was what really pushed me into that sphere of like identification, where it was like, oh wow, like, because the YouTube thing was easier for me to see than the Instagram influencer thing. I think the Instagram influencer thing was still kind of new, as like a, oh wow,
that's true.
You're for sure an Instagram.
I think also on YouTube there were influencers like making it and turning that into a living before Instagram.
Right. So, yeah. And I think that was my inspiration. So I think YouTube was more my foundation for the influencer life, I guess.
I guess for me as well. Yeah.
Which I appreciate. I think it helps. It did something different because the algorithms are different, which is weird to say and weird to think about, but the algorithms are for sure different on YouTube and Instagram in the sense of how you.
I think also back in the day there were like way more discoverability through YouTube, and that's why you could like grow so much quicker and be an influencer, whereas Instagram was a lot harder to get followers.
Right, especially if you're just posting consistently.
Yeah,
I mean that was really, if you're posting consistently and throwing keywords in there, it was like bad. You're gonna be good. So yeah, that was my kind of journey with it, and then, well, let me hear. I actually don't even know yours necessarily, other than. I know you should
I'll get into it.
Yeah.
After this Lamborghini stops revving its engine so loud. We get it, you're rich, you have a Lamborghini.
Maybe they're trying to influence.
They are definitely trying to influence. I'm also going to bring the vibe over and bring a candle here to make it extra romantic for my story.
Listen. Cheers.
Why do you think I got you the drinks? Got drinks, got candles. It's getting
I'm in your spot.
Getting intense. Yeah, he's in my place. You might have to turn the cameras off soon.
Dim the lights.
I actually, though.
I can actually dim the lights. Hella.
Set the mood. No, we gotta see on the video, though. Yeah, I guess. Right. Also, I guess if you're listening to this, it's also going to be on YouTube, so you can check out the video if you want to, but it's more about the audio anyway.
Click the link in the bio for more.
Smash that subscribe button and make sure
to give it a like.
Give it a like, share this with your friends, leave a comment, leave your banking details.
right. Routing number, account number.
Sign up to my Patreon. Check out the merch link in the bio.
Here's my address. You can send me a check.
Anyway, okay, so my influencer journey. I guess also I never called myself an influencer, even though I guess I technically was, but just that term kind of like grossed me out from the beginning. So I called myself a content creator, social media content creator. That was actually like,
that's kosher.
I mean,
that's kosher.
I've never had a proper job, so that was like a job title I gave myself for a couple of years, was social media content creator. But yeah, so it all started with photography. One of my friends invited me to an Insta Meet, and at the time I had no idea what that was.
Wow.
And this was at the end of high school, and this was back in 2014. Yeah, when Insta Meets was still a thing. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but sure, I'll come along, you're my friend.
Yeah, right.
So I borrowed my grandpa's, I think it was a Nikon D5000, like the shittiest Nikon.
Wow.
But I was like, it's a camera, let's go. And the funny thing is, it was in Newlands Forest in Cape Town. And we went to this Insta Meet and we couldn't find the meetup. So we ended up missing the whole meetup, but the two of us just spent like 3 hours exploring the forest and taking photos. And that was the first time I merged like my love of the outdoors and adventure with my creativity. And also photography was a new medium for me. I've always been creative my whole life, like through art and design, but had never explored photography. So I was like, whoa, this is so cool. Obviously Cape Town just being an amazing place as well. Like every single weekend after that, I'd be like, let's go take photos. Let's go hike a mountain and take photos. So that's what I started doing. And yeah, 2014, back when the Instagram community was still very strong and actually community. Made a lot of friends through there, used all the hashtags to make friends and find people. And yeah, then just started posting on Instagram, started growing a following in Cape Town through that. And then through that, I discovered travel vloggers like Ben Brown, who was very influential.
Shout out to Ben.
If you're watching this, check out the following episodes. It's going to be right up your alley.
You know what's up.
So yeah, saw these travel vloggers or filmmakers posting their photos on Instagram. And that took me over to YouTube, where I saw a whole new world of travel and
so Instagram
creativity.
Brought you into YouTube.
Yeah, Instagram brought me to YouTube and filmmaking. And then I saw these guys traveling, just making videos of their life. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to get paid to do that. It sounds so good. So that's what I started doing. Then posting on YouTube, The Weekend Venture. The OG viewers will know that.
Yep.
And yeah, just started posting travel vlogs. And from there, started getting a following. Also, still mostly in South Africa. And started working with Red Bull through that. Just like the craziest things. And then I was like, okay, I guess this can be a career. I can make money off of this. I can do this. So then started taking YouTube a lot more seriously and started started studying the algorithm and like how to get more subscribers. I was like, okay, I need to be like providing value to people, not just in South Africa as well, because my videos are very like focused on South African travel.
Right.
So I was like, okay, how can I reach a more international audience? So I was like, okay, what do I know? What can I teach? What am I good at? Editing photos.
Wow.
Started making Lightroom editing tutorials, and that just took off.
That was a move right there.
And yeah, actually it started from me. I'd always been so like obsessed with editing and like replicating other people's styles, other photographers on Instagram. So my first video that blew up was how to edit like Samuel Elkins. He's like a classic PNW photographer. And I know him. And yeah, he was just a really popular photographer at the time. And I guess I was just a good editor and like knew how to replicate styles very well. So that blew up. And then I just started doing like how to edit like this person, how to edit like Sam Calder, how to edit like Do You Travel. And that's how my following grew. And
I actually don't think I knew that, actually, that was how you're following. That was like you're into like that.
Yeah, community. That was like the blow up. And then I was still doing like the travel videos at the same time, but that wasn't getting nearly the same amount of views. So I guess from the get-go, I immediately felt this like pressure of having to create tutorials to like keep growing and keep making money. And that's what people subscribe to me for. So I felt this like almost guilt that I had to make those videos.
Interesting.
But it was working. I was making good money. I was being a social media content creator, a professional. I guess
that's such a good, I mean, that's such a great like niche to get into that scene, in the sense of like, that's what, you know, everybody's wanting to learn how to edit like that.
Especially at that time.
Exactly.
Like 2015, 16, 17, when Instagram and photography was geting really big. So yeah, it really just like all funneled all the views.
All hit at the right time.
Yeah, and it was great. But yeah, I guess that really like set me on the course to be an influencer, and I really like tried out that lifestyle for a while, but it never like felt right. But I knew that I had like found myself in that world, so I just kept doing it. Like eventually just got to a point where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like doing this. I don't like this lifestyle of like being a YouTuber, which is so crazy, because like that's what started the whole dream.
And I was about to say, like, what is it about? Because it was the same thing for me. But what was it for you about YouTube And I guess living that lifestyle that didn't feel right, because it looks so amazing. It looks like, what do you mean? How would you not like everything about this? Like, what about like that life was like off-putting to you?
I think for me it was having to is also a strong word, because no one, like YouTube, you can do whatever you right. YouTube, you can do whatever you want.
Exactly.
But I felt like I had to keep making tutorials and editing videos in order to keep making money, to survive, to even keep growing on YouTube, to keep my audience happy, because I was doing the tutorials, and when I started growing a following, I was like posting travel videos and like other stories I wanted to actually make, the real films I wanted to make, but they just wouldn't get nearly the same views as my tutorials.
Right. So
it was like very discouraging and frustrating in a way, that I was like, I'm putting in all this effort and like no one's watching it, and this is what I really want to be doing. And yeah, so I guess I got more and more discouraged to do the tutorials, and then like all my creative energy also then got discouraged to make the films that I wanted to. So I just felt like very lost at a point, and I was like, I'd built myself up to this whole world. I'd like achieved what I wanted to achieve, but it just didn't feel how I wanted it to feel. And I think because it wasn't coming from an authentic place like I think it is now, it was coming from a place of, oh, that life looks cool. I want the followers. I want the subscribers. I want the image of being a YouTuber, of being an influencer.
There's so many things that come along with it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like you get to go to like cool events. You get brand deals. You get free stuff. It's very cool, but like, it's not truth. Like at the end of the day. So.
Well, and if that's why you're doing it, because I think now the funny thing is, as we try to navigate reapproaching art and reapproaching creativity, like it's the same kind of approach, it's the same idea, but it's not coming from the same like desire within.
I think the why is different.
The why, that's a good way of putting it.
Like we're doing the same thing, we're just traveling and making videos and taking photos, but and like the message, the caption is different, if that's like a way to put it. But I guess also the stories are different, but it's coming from a much more true, authentic place. Well, hashtag authentic.
The caption is different within itself too. Like the caption isn't the same when you're shooting it. You're not going out. I feel like, because when I was shooting, I feel like I would go out and specifically be like, you got to stand here and I got to frame it like this, and you got to kind of look at the camera like this, that I can get this kind of energy coming off of you that I know Instagram's gonna like.
It was all for Instagram. It wasn't for like the actual art or the moments of capturing.
And you get lost in the app itself versus like, yo, like that's crazy that you're in fill in the blank location with, you know, hanging out and getting to document that moment. Like that's so crazy. That's so beautiful. Like be there first.
Yeah.
And then whatever comes out of that is what goes up and online, because then it's like a presence thing versus I think that was the biggest thing that I realized was the presence thing. It's like I'm not present in these moments, which are so grand, you know, they're so big, it's so beautiful, but I wasn't like actually there. I was kind of in my head about how it was supposed to look or how it was supposed to feel or whatever,
and like what you're gonna post on what day. Do I have enough shots to like fill up the week?
And it just, I think that's what began to like drain my passion for it, because I was like, this doesn't feel, like you said, like natural or like authentic as much anymore. Like
hashtag authentic.
But it didn't feel authentic anymore. It felt like we were, you know,
almost creating this like fake life.
Creating a fake life, exactly, and a fake life that wasn't for anything. It was just for the ego, like, and it's
literally.
And you were kind of dependent upon the ego for all of these places and environments that you were going into, because you were like, I know that I'm here because of the brand. Yeah. Like, I know I'm here because of who I present myself online.
Even just traveling. Like, we both traveled for Instagram, for YouTube.
It was all
like, not
that.
to travel to experience the places. I mean, there was like a little bit of, but it was for Instagram.
Yep.
It was for the shots.
Yep.
And I think that's what's been so different about the past 2-3 weeks that we've been together traveling through Colorado, now in Utah, and we've been like hiking to hike, and then the photos have been a byproduct, or we've been
well, it's like we're going to hike to see that lake, not we're going to hike to get that photo.
Yes.
we're going to hike to experience the fact that we're in that glacial space and hanging out and like getting to see it. And then also, oh, cool, like let's capture
and getting
photos.
to connect as people instead of two photographers trying to collab and like make content together.
Because that's a different way of connection.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the first time we didn't really connect at all. We were just like, "Hey, what's up? You're gonna model, right?
Yeah. I'll tag you.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tag you. Like, okay, cool. I know what
that
you're
was
doing.
like the whole game, which is just so ridiculous. And like, there's still people doing that, which is insane to me. Yeah. What is your take on like influencer culture today?
I mean, I think it all comes back to, for me, and I think because of how I interpret it for myself, I recognize that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my identity. This is my ego. This is like who I think I am. And I think it's like, that's how I see it now. It's like, oh yeah, like we're still obsessed as a culture about like who we think we are.
Yeah.
And who we present ourselves to be, and like the role that we play for ourselves in our mind, really. And so like you're wanting to present this role to the world because that's who you think you are in your head.
Yeah.
Maybe that's an aspect of you, just like our creativity is an aspect of us. So it's like the art that we were making wasn't necessarily not who we are.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like aligned with like, there's also, I know who I am within myself without this too. I didn't know who I was without Instagram.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's
same.
I had no idea who I was without that thing.
Without your Instagram
without my
page,
Instagram page, or you know, telling people like, yeah, I'm a photographer, I'm an Instagram, you know. And I think that that's kind of my perspective now of Instagram culture. Is it's not like necessarily bad. I'm like, okay, like I see where you're at. Like, what's up? Like, I get that. I've totally. It's a very addictive thing. It's like
it also reinforces if you do get positive results from posting
100%
and sharing. And the audience and the algorithm supports that, you're going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're unconscious and doing it in a way where you're not being aware of what you're actually putting out there into the world or who you are. Yeah.
And I think I've also noticed that that musicians have a much easier time doing it because they do it as musicians. Not necessarily because that's who they are as a role in society.
I think it also might be because it's an auditory thing, not like
a visual.
They're creating audio first, which is not for Instagram.
It's for their own audio.
The Instagram is like a byproduct. I've never thought about that before.
And I think that influence has helped a little bit with the photography community as well, in a way. But I also think that the photography thing, I mean, the thing about that for me is like I'm still trying to figure out how to play that role without playing that role. How do I play the somebody who posts and somebody who creates and somebody who makes beautiful art in beautiful places without being like the influencer or like that kind of scene of like, hey, look at me, check me out, you know what I mean?
Listen to what I have to say.
And it's definitely more like documentation. Like you've gotten really good at that, I think, in a really beautiful way. And I think that's all it is, just doing that more consistently and just sharing what you think is beautiful and sharing what you see without having to be like, hey, check me out.
It's coming from a place that's not like, hey, look what I'm, check me out, look what I'm doing, please like and subscribe. Right. Or even telling people like, hey, this is what you should believe, this is what you should do, this is where you should go. This is how you have to exist. Yeah, it's just more a documentation of this is my experience, this is where I'm at. If you take anything away from this, then cool. But this is what is real. And I'm not trying to put across a fake image of me standing on a mountaintop.
This is who I am.
Where there was a line of 50 people waiting to take the same photo.
Yep.
Like, I think the photo you took of me eating the sun chips was such a beautiful image because it was just real. And I was like, honestly, one of the first times I've gone on like a mission or like an adventure with another photographer where we haven't like just gone there to take staged photos. Like it was actually just like more documentary photos.
Yeah.
And
it was like, this is where we were. It was cold.
Yeah, it
didn't
was
hang out for very long.
We ate sun chips at 13,000 feet.
Yep.
And it was just real.
And I think that's what like I appreciate about, I guess, having just broken out of that role is because now I feel so much more freedom to just exist and not really need to be anybody necessarily.
Yeah.
There's a balance there that I'm, continually trying to find, but I think that there's so much more freedom in that being space as an artist, because the beautiful things happen all the time. There's no need to go force a creation of
that's right.
here, this, look at this,
just
check
being
this
able
out.
to see the beautiful things and be aware of them.
See the beautiful things, be aware of them, and even with, maybe some other person you're photographing or some other environment you're creating out of, like finding a way to be in that moment still and create through that being space. It's like, I think that's like a powerful like way to create, and also a cool way to like keep yourself grounded in the present instead of getting lost in
the
I just had a download come in. Like instead of getting lost in like the perception of how it's going to look while you're creating it, like thinking in the future about like, okay, how is this going to be seen, like,
Well, that brings up another argument of art versus documentary, because like a lot of art is creating something out of nothing, whereas documentaries capturing what is already there. So could the influencer be an artist in a way because they are creating this fake reality?
That's a good question. I think that they are, but I also don't think that it's healthy.
Yeah.
I think that it's an unhealthy creation. Like in the sense of like, if you look at, I'm trying to think of like a not so extreme example.
I think it also depends, again, the place where it's coming from.
It's the place where it's coming from, and it's the awareness that it's coming from, I think. Because a lot of creation if you look at the whole human species, there's a lot of creation that's unaware. There's a lot of creation that's not aware of itself. It does cool things, Like, let's just take cars, for example. Cars. Yeah. Great. Love that. I love that I can have a car and drive around and like explore all over the United States. But also the amount of cars that we created has been unhealthy for the planet's atmosphere.
True. Yeah.
It's a big conversation, but I'm just the first example that popped in my head. So in the same way, like I think Instagram, the way that it's been cultivated is beautiful. Like it's cool. Like the art is beautiful. Sure. Like and the art is just a certain kind of framing, a certain kind of energy in a photo. That's dope. But at the same time, I think it's created unhealthy expectations for people, and especially when they go travel somewhere, they're all of a sudden thinking about that expectation of what it's supposed to look like. So they're not just going to experience Bali or Hawaii or whatever place they're going to. They're going to like, I'm going to Bali, I'm going to Hawaii. So it's got to look a certain way, and I think I think that's what creates like the unhealthiness in the art form, because it is an art form, but there's like unhealthy aspects of it because of the attention, I think, and the power that can come with it.
Yeah, I've seen that firsthand as well at Devil's Bridge in Sedona, Arizona, where like we saw this photo on Instagram and we're like, oh, we have to go there. And
I know
it was a beautiful photo, and we went there and there was literally like 60 people waiting in a line to take a photo on this bridge, and you had like 10 seconds to walk up, take a photo, and then go. And it's like, that's not how it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was beautiful, and like I still love the photo that I took.
Right.
So that's why it's like such a weird line to walk.
Yeah.
Of capturing what it actually looked like versus the idealistic version.
And I think that also it puts like a hierarchy in beauty too, which is weird. Like in the sense of like, and this is really difficult to like, I don't know, I guess explain. Nah, maybe not explain, but like rationalize where I'm coming from. But like there's a hierarchy in the sense of like, oh, I'd rather not go to Kansas. I'd rather go to a beach ocean town because that'll be more beautiful. Obviously it's more beautiful. I'm not saying that like, I mean, I guess exactly, that's the thing. It's like, well, like we're
writing it off.
We're writing it off because based off
of
like our perception of what everybody else is going to think.
Yeah.
Whereas Kansas, maybe somebody goes there and appreciates the beauty of the peace there, or the quiet, or the flat landscapes, or like the the openness that is there. You know, there's beauty in every space, and I think that we forget how to see the beauty in every space when we know that bridge is over there and I gotta go get that shot over there. Or that beach has that certain like vibe or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it kind of creates a weird like rating scale in the sense of a natural environment, which is like it's like not healthy as well, in the sense of like appreciating where you're at, loving where you're at, loving
being there for that first.
Exactly.
Yeah. I have a kind of topic change, but not really. What do you think about TikTok?
I have more conspiracy theories about TikTok than I do about Instagram influencing.
Well, let's keep it on the... Well, I mean, you can speak about that if you want.
Well, I mean...
Speak about, like, the cultural effect of it.
I think what TikTok is TikTok is recognizing our obsession with social media.
Yeah,
our obsession with what social media can bring. And basically creating... what would you say? Almost like algorithmic dopamine rushes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That are not healthy.
No.
For
just flooding our dopamine systems.
It's just flooding our dopamine systems
again.
Constantly. And I've actually very rarely been on TikTok. I've had it downloaded like a couple times for a couple of days.
Reels as well. Instagram Reels.
I mean,
same
it's
thing.
the same. It's like it's like the original Vine. Or not the original. Vine was the original version. They took it from Vine, but it's like just... That's been too much for me. I've never been able to get involved in all of that because it's like, it's too... I can't, for me personally, I just can't like get involved with something that I'm like, yeah, this is too much. Like we're pushing too far beyond social media.
Yeah.
This is too like, okay, now we're just getting you addicted to cocaine kind of thing.
Yes, like, actually, though.
It feels like that. It's like,
is.
Yo, you're just pulling us in to
it's it's drawing on the same chemical systems in our brain.
Exactly. And like, so... I love Reels, you know, I still get sucked into them every now and then, you know what I mean, where I'm scrolling and just laughing, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also am just like, this is why we're in the state of affairs that we're in today's culture, in today's world. Like, we're so scattered and everybody's kind of like, there's just so much going on. And this is part of it because we are not quiet. Our minds
We're not giving ourselves time to rest. Every time we get a moment of rest, we pick up our phones and look at Instagram or TikTok, and that's just like literally endless amounts of content and different things happening all the time that our brain has to analyze and process. So you aren't resting.
You're not resting at all, and it's curated to what Instagram knows you like to see,
and it'll keep you hooked for as long as possible.
So it's
going to keep your brain working as long as possible.
So a lot of there's another, I think that's another like really dangerous aspect of like the whole influencer thing right now. It's just like that's not what I envision a future on this planet to be. I don't want it to be where we just continue to go down that pathway, which is like what the metaverse is, which is what like all these VR kind of like worlds are. Like I don't like that.
That exists right here already. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I'm already in this kind of like experience that I get to like to go explore as this human, like as this being. I get to go exist and have different experiences and find different experiences, but it comes from a true like grounded place within myself that's connected to, you know, friends or lovers or family or, you know, that kind of thing.
The real world, not the metaverse.
So I think that's another aspect that's really gets really interesting with the whole influencer conversation, because it's like, what are we trying to do? What is the long-term vision?
Buying into it and keep adding content to these platforms that keep people sucked in.
Right.
And I was gonna say just now as well, like by having people get that dopamine rush by engaging with other people, with other situations, with new stimuli all the time, there's no need to go look for that in real life.
Yeah.
Because if you are seeing thousands of people in an hour, your brain is like, cool, I've socialize for the day.
I've
seen people. I've had so many experiences. I went skydiving with this guy. I went to a volcano with this guy.
Right.
So you'll be happy and content just sitting on the couch doing nothing while you scroll through TikTok,
which is not
living,
and not how I want to be existing on the planet. And I think that's a huge part of the reason why I've taken such a step back, because I'm just like, hold on, wait a minute. I want to be present first. I want to be here first. I don't want to be involved in the phone more than I am in this world, in this life, in these relationships. And I think that's what I think about TikTok and like the Instagram Reels. It's like, I get it. They're fun. They are fun. They're fun to see. They're fun to experience. But
I think you have to have some form of self-control though as well.
Which we already know that we're not good at in this generation, in this timeline.
I feel kind of bad for kids as well growing up with this now, where it's literally being programmed into their brains, hardwired that this is just normal. This is like how their brains work.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're ever going to break the addiction to that like new video every 6 seconds.
Yeah.
For hours.
Yeah, and I think that like, I mean, that's like, takes it into a bigger space of a conversation, but I think it undermines a lot of, you get addicted to the system is I feel like what's happening in that situation, where like you're addicted to what's happening in the sense of like where society's at. You're constantly absorbing where society's at.
It's always the external world
Constantly. So you're not building a relationship with yourself. You're not building a relationship with your inner environment, your emotions, your gut. What does your gut say? What is your
no? Because you checked out. Your brain is checked out. You're just in the phone.
You're just absorbing external reality constantly. So I think that's like a really dangerous. I'm not blaming the kids, obviously. Like that's just what's happening, because it's where we're at, like as a species. But I think that's like a really weird.
I think that's why it's so important for internet personalities and influencers to use their power. Power is a strong word, but also not
at all.
Use their power, their influence to speak about being present, to speak about mindfulness, to speak about living in real life, and to try and encourage people to get off of social media and into real life. And I think there's still a lot of people that aren't doing that with their following. Even like, if you think about like the Kardashians, like they have so much influence in the world, and they're putting out such trash all the time. And it's like, what? How do you feel good doing that?
Right.
I don't get it.
I don't either. Because it's so much power, and it's so much responsibility, really. Like, I mean, like the Uncle Ben said, like, with great power comes great responsibility. I think that's a real, that like really applies in this moment, because it's like, that is a lot of power to have that kind of attention and that kind of focus and that kind of, you can hey, look at this new brand, and all of a sudden that brand becomes a multi-million-dollar company. That's crazy.
I think also because in this day and age, with the internet, with things like TikTok, people growing exponentially, in the past, to be a person of influence, you had to go through probably decades, unless you were like born into royalty or something. But if you wanted to become a president,
you had to fight for it.
You had to go through a lot of training, a lot of hard work, a lot of being mindfulness, being aware of your own self, to get that position of power. I mean, whether it was through manipulation and negative ways or positive ways, you still had to put in the work, and yet you were almost like trained to be powerful and have influence. Whereas now, a kid can post a video of them dunking a basketball backwards and get 5 million views on TikTok. And then they have all this power, and there's brands coming in, throwing money at them,
and they're like, whoa. I mean, they probably love it, but it's also like, like in the natural, I feel like in the more natural way of things, like the work it's embedding like humility and different things into you that you kind of need to be able to be at like a place of like prominence in that way that we don't have anymore. Where you're just, all of a sudden you're just famous, and it's like, well, what if it just happened? Like, that may not be a good place for you to be in.
No, exactly.
Damaging to your mental health and like or damaging to the people you might be influencing.
Yeah, both.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think it's been weird, I think, like, being part of the culture and, like, having kind of ridden that wave a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden now being like, wait a minute. Like, there needs to be a certain kind of approach to this.
Yeah.
Because I think the whole premise of it is cool.
Yeah.
Sure, if you got, like, beautiful ideas and you make beautiful art, like, I love that. Like, I want to support that, you know? But the mass quantities of it now, it's like, well, we got to figure out a way.
I don't know, man. Maybe we just really sucked at being influenced.
Yeah, we were just like not.
We just didn't make the cut, and now we're just hating on influencers.
Yeah, we're just hating on it all. Like, yeah, no, that lifestyle is not for me, bro.
It's not authentic at all.
Not at all. No, I think we all definitely know that there's like a little bit of a unhealthiness that goes along with it.
But yet we all still indulge.
Yep. Well, I mean,
as a consumer or creator, because even I know people that have like maybe 100 or 200 followers that are like trying to be an influencer now with reels and like making content.
Right.
I was like, for what? Yeah. And because they also want that status, that being an influencer kind of.
What do you think the influencer role is filling within the psyche of the human?
Ooh.
Because I think that's what I think because of the mass scale of it, there's something that's deeply embedded in us that's getting fulfilled by it.
Oh, for sure. Well, I think it is the sense of power and importance and feeling needed and feeling wanted and feeling respected. And that's just the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, it's the easiest.
You don't need to go get a doctorate.
Or actually put in work to study something or write something or write some book.
Yeah, or write a book or dedicate 20 years to your community.
Yeah.
You can post 5 TikTok videos and blow up if you do it the right way.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at me now.
So I think it is this need of acceptance, and especially when you see people around you getting that following and
getting that
attention. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, why? I want that as well.
And if it's that easy, why don't I just go do it like that? Like, I don't want to put in 20 years of work to figure out how to do whatever.
Yeah. And then there's also, I think, negative aspects of it, like not feeling good enough, not feeling fulfilled. And it's like, oh, why can they do it, but I can't do that? Like, why do they get all the followers? And it's like not feeling fulfilled and good enough and loving yourself enough to not even need that, to not even want it or care about it. And I mean, I feel like I'm at a level now where I don't care about the followers or the likes or the money or anything. Maybe subconsciously I still do, but like I tell myself I don't.
Well, I mean, it's more living out of the existence first and foremost, which I think is where I've been trying to get to as well, is like learning how to like be here first. And that's all that I feel like that's always my focus right now. It's like, it's not about I'm trying to be here
now.
I'm trying to be here now.
Thanks, Ram
Shout
Dass.
out to Ram Dass. The original influencer.
I feel like Jesus was the original influencer.
You're right.
Absolutely. He's probably like the most famous person ever to live.
The original influencer.
He's got to be the most famous person ever.
I think so, for sure.
And he didn't even have Instagram.
Nah, he was just like preaching, bro.
That was all the word of God.
He was on to something different. Y'all didn't see that coming, did you?
Ram Dass.
Well, no, being here now thing, like, in not trying to create. I'm struggling to get it out because I'm processing, actually, as I say this. I'm like, wait a minute. Looking through things within myself. I think my trajectory has shifted, right? I'm not trying to look for that kind of like necessarily that external approval from reality anymore. That's no longer my like direction.
Yeah.
Or what I'm subconsciously wanting and craving. Like, I'm subconsciously craving at this point now like peace and inner balance. that's my MO in the sense like, okay, we're moving to that. Mm-hmm. That's what we want to get. Mm-hmm. So I think that's like, why was it going on this rant? No.
As opposed to external approval.
Yeah. As opposed to external, thank you.
Yeah.
As opposed to external approval, because that was the original MO with Instagram, and it was because I was like wanting that from
to get validation. Deep childhood traumas now.
I mean, I'm not trying to take it there, but at the end of the day, I do think that there's something there that's deeply embedded in the fact that we're also addicted to Instagram. Is that there's so much validation and so much attention that we're getting from it, and that really we're all. That is a childhood need. That is a childhood want, and at this point now, like we can all kind of like recognize that there's been some like imbalances in our culture's like interaction with growing up, and I think that there's like a deep need there for that validation that we are all finding through becoming somebody online, because it's like this kind of false projected reality that we can kind of put out there, and then we can receive that input. It's like, oh sweet, then I can feel good about myself at home, even though at home it's like you're still here with that woundingness that needs to be looked at.
But it's an easy cover up for the meantime,
right?
And it's just the more you do that, the more it keeps covering it up,
right?
But that doesn't last, obviously.
It's not gonna last.
Otherwise we would have been really successful influencers right now.
We would have been
we would have at least 12 million subscribers.
At least over 10,
making Lightroom tutorial editing videos.
I mean, when the Lightroom presets hit, they hit. Well, I think I'm laughing that we're like in a van drinking. We would have been influencers by No, but I think that it's like it's a process. It's a real thing that we're like trying to figure out how to process now. Of like, okay, wait, because that was the whole reason I remember leaving. I was like, there's something not right. There's something not right in this. There's something like imbalanced within this that I'm building this is like a crutch for me. And when the crutch is taken away, I lose my balance and don't know who I am. And I don't want to not know who I am without who the fuck I am. Like I don't want to take that crutch away of Instagram. And not be grounded in who I am. Like, I want to know who I am without this, without anything external, really. Like,
I heard this one quote once. It's like, who are you without your job title, your friends, your family, your name? Like,
right.
I mean, especially
who are you behind all these layers?
Especially like where our whole identity was based on Instagram and YouTube. Like, if we took that away, then we were no one. We didn't even have that self-love and self-validation that, like, if we lost that, we'd be like, yeah, it's fine. I'm still Dean.
I'm still Jackson.
But like, our whole life, our whole dream, our whole future was based on
everything revolved around it.
That
was like the center point. And I think that was like, that's like huge. And especially with our generation, I think that that's like a huge focal point that we should all kind of look at and figure out, like, okay, what is our groundedness in? Because what if the internet just goes out? Like, literally, it's that simple. The internet could just go. None of us have that identity space anymore. Where do we sit? Boom, like chaos in our minds. That's crazy to think about. And like, that's not, that could have happened, I feel like, in a way.
It could,
So it's like, who are we outside of that? I think is an important question to be asking. Because we're already living in the metaverse. It's already exists. It's not just in our face necessarily in that visual VR way, but it's like, I really came to understand Instagram as like, that's like the metaverse in a way. It's like you're creating this kind of false narrative, not false, but like you're creating you're creating a perfect world out of this digital kind of landscape, and that's not real.
So I guess maybe this could be like our closing.
To wrap up
our closing question is, where would you like to see social media going forward? Or how would you like to see social media going forward?
That's a good question.
Because I feel like it's spiraling down very quickly right now. But at the same time, there's also some people and some niches that are blossoming.
Yeah.
And that's, I mentioned that earlier. I showed Jackson a video on TikTok where it was this guy speaking about like consciousness, whatever. But I was whatever
in the Illuminati.
No, but I was like, this is something that's really beautiful about social media is you can find people and videos like this in and amongst all of the mess and all of the trash. There's still people that are being very truthful and honest and #authentic. So, yeah, I guess like where would you like to see social media going?
That's a really great question, actually. I've not given that enough thought, or actually any thought. I've never like conceptualized what like a healthy social media would look like.
It's difficult. Okay, I'll add some points. Maybe it'll prompt you.
Yeah,
I think
go into that because
I've literally never given
that any thought. I always think about the human design and the human habits first before I get to social media. So I'm curious to hear what you kind of have thoughts on the actual social media.
So I think social media can be the trash can be very valuable at times.
Right.
Especially when you burnt out. Like there's so many days where I've just been busy the whole day. I've been productive. It's felt like a really good day, and I'm like, oh, I should read before bed. I really should, but I'm just like so mentally drained.
Right.
That I'm like, I just don't have the energy to. Even though I know it would be like good for me, and I know it should be right. Then that like 15 minutes of social media feels great.
Right.
But I do think that it needs to be limited. Like, you shouldn't be spending 2 or 3 hours just scrolling endlessly. So I think the fun comedy definitely does play a role. Also, just like enlightening the world, comedy definitely has its place.
Absolutely.
I don't think everything should be about consciousness and spirituality and science and psychology all the time. Yeah, there should still be fun and stories and laughing,
expression,
and all kinds of expression. So that's why I think it's difficult to say that no, there shouldn't be any of that stuff. It should be banned, and like also it shouldn't be banned because everyone should be allowed to express however they want to. But I would like to see a lot more of a conscious effort going towards social media. When I say that, I mean like being #more authentic, being real, being like putting out your real life, your real emotions, your real thoughts, and not portraying this idealized, incredible version of life that isn't actually real.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to do, is be more real. It's not as easy because in the times where you aren't feeling great, it's like, I don't want to record this. I don't want to document this right now.
Yeah, I'm depressed today. Like, I don't want to be expressing my depression.
But I also think it is important for that to be more normalized.
Exactly, like beautiful.
Yeah.
If you need to let out your whatever.
Exactly. Like why don't we express that online?
I like that. Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to see more of that. That is very difficult.
Well, I mean, now that you say that, that's like what I've thought about, like I think the #authentic thing is like authenticity. I want truth, I want what's true.
Yeah.
Like if we're going to be online, which at this point, like in this, it's not going anywhere. Social media is not going anywhere.
No.
If we're going to be online, coming to truth within yourself, like you're saying, like what's real with you right now, what's real with your day. And I think I've been like in the same way, kind of trying to figure out how to navigate that, especially my captions. I really feel like that I'm trying to learn how to express myself in a way that's like authentic and like real to me, and real to like, hey, this is like my experience right now. I'm trying to navigate different things within my energy system. And then I also think that I've said before, like how can we figure out how to make authenticity a trend?
Yeah.
In that way of like, yo, like, let's just make this the
normal
cool thing to do,
yeah.
the normal thing to do. Like, yeah. whatever you're feeling, let it out.
Yeah.
Express yourself. Like,
yeah.
be who you need to be. Like, don't filter anything. Like we've been so trained to because of social media.
Yeah.
And I think with the overstimulation that's happening right now, I think that might be that's an easier thing to step into. And I think that is what's kind of happening, especially with musicians, like we were talking about. It's an easier way to express your authentic emotion. But with everybody, just express where you're at, show where you're at. Like, post photos just on your phone. Like, you don't have to shoot everything on your Canon 1DX Mark II. Like, you can just take a selfie and be like, yo, today I'm kind of hot. Kind of just hanging out in my bed and I don't really want to do anything. I'm feeling lazy. Like, bet, like, cool. Like, that's what's up. And
that'll stop, like, othering the consumer as well and making people consuming feel like shit, because that's also a part of the whole social media algorithm. It's like all the best content and you sitting there on your bed like, oh, my life sucks, everyone's doing amazing things, but it's all just a highlight reel. And
really they're laying in their beds sometimes thinking the same thing,
but they aren't sharing that.
They're showing the cool rad things that they're up to and they're doing,
like traveling in a van, being an influence.
Well, even like this though, it's like there's, and I know we were gonna do another video about this, but like even like this, there's like all those levels of like van life is not. Sometimes you're just in a Walmart parking lot, like you're just chilling in like some ratchet little spots, and you're just like, well, here I am.
Yeah, it's
like,
not all great, but what you see on, I think it's also the algorithms. Well, actually, the algorithms are a result of
they're playing
the
off
feedback.
Of what exactly.
Is people are buying into this idealized version and keep perpetuating that. So the algorithm is like, oh, you like that? I'm going to show you more of that.
Right. And
so it's not going to show a van in a Walmart parking lot because that doesn't look beautiful.
Right. And nobody's going to continue to check
exactly.
it out.
So it's like we almost need to stop interacting with like the idealized versions, but that's not going to happen because it is cool. So,
and I think that's why the idealized things need to shift. What is idealized? What do we
I think that's why there just needs to be more authentic work out there,
more truthful, like honest, like this is just where I am. This is a beautiful aspect.
So then the algorithm can start prioritizing that. Because I mean, I've started noticing that with me posting more authentic work and being more honest about how I'm feeling and where I'm at, I've started to get way more engagement because of that. And I think it shows that people do want that.
People want it,
but people are like, the majority of creators out there are still posting this idealized version. But if there was more of this authentic content, people would love it, and then that would get perpetuated, and then the cycle would flow into
a different
system.
direction. It would it's like we're not dealing with humans anymore. It's just an algorithm. So how do you play the algorithm? How do you shift that?
It's almost like we are responsible for changing the algorithm.
We are responsible for it, and it's doable in that way, but it starts with us. And the shifting of like the inner attention, what we like.
It's almost like changing like the government or corporations. Like, we can all boycott them, but we all need to work together. But that's so difficult.
Right, for sure. Like, how do you get people to come together on that idea? Which is the funny thing. Like, I think that's... We all want to come together on this. I know that this is what's in the culture right now. I know that this is what's in the people. Like, this is what's in the people. You know what I mean? None of us... We're all tired of it.
Everyone wants this change. It just needs to happen. And then people need to stop creating the old version.
Well, and I think that it's like people need to recognize that this is what we want more so than the old version. We'd rather have this truth. I want to see what Sam Coulter's like on a day where he's depressed. Like, what do you feel when you're sad? What do you feel when you're heartbroken? What do you feel when you're like down in your knees? You know what I mean? When you're in that like low spot too. And
what do you create out of it as well? Because I'm sure there could be some beautiful creations out of that. Very inspiring, amazing art pieces.
That are # authentic.
Yes, literally. And not to say that authenticity or authentic work can't be beautiful either. It can be shot on a 1DX and look amazing. I think Tim Kellner does a really good job of that.
You're right.
His work is all so beautiful, but some of his pieces can be like very raw and emotional and real. So there can be room for both. needs to happen.
Yeah. I think it's just allowing the spectrum of emotion.
Yeah.
Instagram lives in this high vibe spectrum.
All the time.
All the time. Everything's hot. Everything's good looking. Everything's awesome. Everything's great. When really there's a whole spectrum of human experience that we have to integrate into the system so that we can all feel a little bit more like we're a tribe. We're all down here together on this planet, spinning through space. Like, you know, how's your experience been?
Yeah.
Bet. Glad I'm hearing all the sides of it.
Yeah. And how can I share this as a creator and then learn from this as a consumer and then come together as people to create a better world for everyone?
Exactly.
Damn. That was #authentic.
#bars.
I think that's got to be the name of this episode as well. How to be a #authentic creator. No, #authentic influencer.
Yeah, how to be a #authentic influencer. The thumbnail.
Wait, do it again. We gotta do it at the same time. Okay, cool.
Bet.
All right. That's
a wrap. Thank y'all. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for watching The Bridge. Literally an hour. That was great. Thanks all for listening. Make sure to smash that subscribe button.
Share this with your friends.
Hit the
like button. Make sure everybody hears about this and we can get this authentic trend going.
But yeah, I think we're going to do a couple more episodes.
It feels so funny.
While we're on the road. So if you want to watch some others, they're not all going to be on social media. There's going to be actually way better, way deeper conversations coming soon.
Yeah, they'll mail you through the postal service. Not going to be on social media. It's going to be authentic.
It's going to be a handwritten letter.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Okay. Thanks for listening, for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.